Ladies and gentlemen, in the last video, we checked the DSA's website and we read the first sentence and we were blown away with what they said about capitalism. But what follows immediately afterwards is just as mind blowing. Let's go to it so you guys can see this with your own eyes because they're not hiding it. All right. So on their website here, and again, we're on the About Us page, and look what it says. It says, capitalism is a system designed by the owning class to exploit the rest of us for their own profit. So in a short recap, we learned that the word design in the first sentence is doing a lot of work, and it's doing almost all of the work. And we learned that everything is relying on this word design. And if you want to know more about that video, I suggest you go and read that video because we're about to go into what they said immediately after this sentence, which is we must replace it with democratic socialism. And so if you look here, guys, um, there's there's a lot going on here. And for them to just tell you that we must replace it with democratic socialism, they are like being upfront. And remember, you have the owning class, and then there's the rest of us. And then they're saying we must replace it with democratic socialism. And see that word replace? That word replace is not a small word. Uh, they don't just say, like, look, how can we improve capitalism? They don't say, how can we reform capitalism? They don't say, how can we make things better inside of capitalism? They just come off the top telling you that we need to replace it. And that deserves a hard pause by anybody that is coming across this. Most people are just nodding their head because of some of those talking points that they're putting out there. But I think that you guys need to uh, log on to YouTube, get on the noise check, and check out these videos so you can learn to pause before you react. Because here in this sentence, it's a lot going on too. And so another word, all right, other than design, is the word replace. And that word replace, it's doing a lot of work too. So much so that if you're not careful, you'll fall into the trap that is being set before you. And yes, I believe that it is a trap that is being set before you guys. So listen, if I replace your car, you don't get the same car with new tires on it. No, you're getting a whole new car. And you don't pretty much get the say so in this new system that they're trying to replace capitalism with. So your car may not be as good as the car that you already had. It may be a new car with more mileage on it, or a new car with less features. So you're not getting to enjoy have all this ownership in this new system that they're trying to replace the old system with. And they're telling it to you right here on the website. They're not even trying to hide it. It's in front of you guys, and I'm gonna keep that going before us, okay? Because the question that we want to ask, and everybody should be asking, is replace it with what? Because just because they threw that word Democrat on top of the word socialism, they're really telling you that they want to replace it with socialism. Democrat is just the you know, uh the little sprinkles that are on top of the cake that are helping to make it look good and appealing and soft. But what they're trying to get is the people involved so that they can go from plan A to B. And the way they do that is by giving you the first sentence in video one. Because listen, in the first sentence they have here, capitalism is a system designed by the owning class to exploit the rest of us, right? So if I could get you to feel like that you're being harmed, then it's only natural that the reaction that will come from that is, I need to tear it down. And people will rally behind something that they believe has been put in place to harm them. And so we're trying to check the noise. Okay, you guys. So we're not asking if they want to change, because they clearly do. All right. And asking what specifically they're replacing capitalism with is socialism. They just, again, put the sprinkles on the cake. And I want you guys to examine the evidence. You need to examine the evidence. You need to put on your thinking caps. You need to grab the magnifying glass. You need to be like Inspector Gadget. You don't need to be believing everything that is thrown to you. All right. Remember, I was telling you guys, um, we are so used to eating off so many plates, and you got to be careful eating off too many plates, because it's going to make you sick. So I don't want them to sell me a name, because that's what they're doing. They're selling you a name. They're telling you that democratic socialism is the way to go, and they're throwing all these different lit cherries on top of it to make you want to join them, but you don't see the snare that is being laid before you. And um, my hopes is that you guys will learn to pause before reacting. So, yeah, the label, it doesn't explain how the economy actually works. And it doesn't tell us who owns what. It doesn't tell us who controls what. It doesn't tell us what percentages that are gonna go to the leadership and the people. We need to be asking these questions, not just selling a label to us, because that's what they're doing. A name is not a mechanism. And listen, policies, they aren't the same as a system. Policies aren't the same as a system. So yeah, they're gonna tell you healthcare for all, because healthcare for all sounds good. They're gonna tell you higher wages. I mean, why not? Higher wages sound good. They're gonna tell you, listen, we all need a seat at the table. They're gonna feed you these things. Affordable housing. Those are all policies. They don't tell you how the system is going to work. And you need to be careful with that. And that's why here on the noise check, we're trying to get this across to as many people as we can. Because wanting healthcare doesn't tell us who's gonna own the economy. It doesn't tell us who's gonna own the economy. So when you're out there and you're rallying in these big rallies because you ate from the wrong table, you listened to these ideas, this ideology that has you caught up in your feelings and in your emotions, and you're running behind the banner. Because I always like to say this: what you lift up, excuse me, what you support, you lift up. So you have to be careful what you support, because what you support, you lift up. And even that is a way of them laying the trap for you guys, because they want your support, because what you support, you lift up. So listen, um, you can support the goals without that explaining the structure underneath it all. And in this place where it's almost as if you think that you're doing better for yourself. You think that you are going in a direction that's going to help you, but really you have placed a blindfold over your eyes, because all you do is nod at all of the sprinkles and the icing and the little cherries and the little strawberries, the things that they have placed on top of the cake to make you what? React. They need you to react. They need you to tear the house down. And if you're not careful, you're going to tear down the very house that's protecting you. And I'm going to keep stating that. Listen, so again, you can think capitalism um, has real problems. And, we know that. Look how they say it. We must replace it with democratic socialism. And if you drop that word democratic, look what it says here. We must replace it, capitalism, with socialism. And look, they say a system where ordinary people have a real voice in our workplaces, in neighborhoods, and in society. Guys, look how they're dressing this up. Reform isn't different, excuse me, reform is different from replacement. Regulation, labor laws, all these things, the entire world that you've been in, they're talking about replacing it because they are trying to paint this picture that it has been oppressive to you. And sometimes you can be in a world where you're benefiting so much from it and you don't even realize it because you're not competing at the highest level. Sometimes and often, these things are natural as to why you're not doing these things. Sometimes it's that you're not in the right company, you're not in the right spaces, you're not talking to the right people. Sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Time and chance happen to every single individual on this planet. And, and so many people are projecting this hate for America. But all you have to do is look around you and look how the entire world is trying to come here. And if the entire world is trying to come here, then you ought to ask the question, what is it like outside of here? Or maybe you need to save up your money and go take a trip to some of these foreign countries and see what life is like. And you will be shocked at what you will find. So listen, if the DSA is choosing the stronger word, um, replace, then I want to know what disappears. Because we need to know also what is all going away. Remember, don't sell us no label. We want to know what is being replaced. You guys should want to know what's being replaced. I mean, they have it here for you. Capitalism, they're telling you it is designed by the owning class to exploit you. And we learn that exploit is to harm you. Listen, I mean, if you read their next words closely and you go down in here and how they talk about giving you a real voice in workplaces and neighborhoods and in society, that all sounds good because you deserve to have a voice. They act like you don't have a voice. You do have a voice. You just don't have all of the voice. See, each and every one of us is given a piece of that power. And when enough of it comes together, that collective power elects our officials. It's called voting. Each one of our votes, see, you got people out there telling you it don't matter. But you can look through the window, turn on your TV, and watch what happens with the people that do believe in it and how it can change things. Because if it didn't mean anything, why would this organization be asking you for your vote? You need to ask these real questions, guys. But listen, having a voice, changing who owns the economy are two different claims. We need to know this because further down the page, I want you guys to see this. Look, they say we want to collectively own the key economic drivers that dominate our lives, such as energy production and transportation. Look at how this gets bigger and bigger as you read on. It's right there. And that's not a voice, you guys. That's ownership now. You have to be able to distinguish between the two. So I want to pause right now and say if you're enjoying this video, I would like you to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button to the noise check. Um, you doing that helps to get our videos in front of more people, in front of more noise checkers, because we love our country and we want people to love it too. It's a beautiful place and great things are happening here. So, yeah, um, I want to ask the question now because they put here we want to collectively own the key economic drivers. I didn't put that there. And when they say we, I want to ask who is exactly that? We. Because this country has over 340 million people here. And 340 million people cannot go into an office and control the electric grid that controls the transportation. 340 million people cannot go into the Oval Office. 340 million people cannot control uh, everything. You're still going to need the institutions. You're still going to need government. You're still going to need structure. So they're trying to tell you, in one hand, we need to tear down the house, tear the structure down. But while also, on the other hand, installing in a different structure right up under your nose because they know that the time is ripe. They know that there are a lot of uneducated Americans, but there are also a lot of educated Americans. There are a ton of people that, you know, I know I'm not the first that paused at this first sentence. I know I'm not the only person that said, hey, let me go see what is DSA. There are many of you that are agreeing and you're watching this and you're like, man, this brother is on point because I felt that same way. And I know you did. 340 million people can't be in the boardroom. I mean, is 340 million people going to be the elected board? Are they going to be the government? We want to know those things because calling something democratic, it just tells you how the power might get selected, but it doesn't eliminate the power itself. It don't. And this is why we're pausing. This is why we're being slow to react. This is why we're putting on our thinking caps. This is why we're trying to look at it with a fine lens. Because, as I stated in video one, abuse can happen anywhere. It can. So, someone still has the authority. Someone will still make the decisions, and someone will still enforce them. So when you're trying to take away one system, you need to know exactly what is replacing it. Because that's why I'm here to point this out to you guys. And when they tell you power to the people, power to the people still requires structure. So somebody's going to be at the top. And in capitalism, you get a lot of personal ownership. But under democratic socialism, we need to put our thinking caps on what percentage of that personal ownership is going to still be ours. What all is it changing? Are you so sure that you want to go to socialism? And I think that the DSA, they're being pretty direct to us. They're being pretty fair. They're being open. I mean, it's right here on the website, you guys. I think that you guys need to look at this and um, uh, remove the blindfolds off your eyes if you have them. And for you that don't have the blindfolds on, I think that you need to help others to be able to see this. Share this video with them because listen, they're not hiding the ball. And wanting workers to have more influence is a legitimate political position. So, yeah, this right here we need to pause on And the moment you say replace the economic system, the burden of proof, it gets a lot bigger. So yeah, guys, I would just say, wanting to have more influence, it is a legitimate political position, and they're not hiding the ball. They're letting you know what they want to replace it with, and they're letting you know that we, and not you, want to own it, and you need to pause and look into that we. All right, because a good sounding phrase isn't an answer to a structural question. We want to know about the structure. All right. So again, guys, um, if you want real talk and not to spin, then I suggest that you hit that like and subscribe button so you can be up to date on the next video, and tap that like button. Yeah, this is a great place to be in. And we don't just react, we check the noise. So that's my check. You drop your check down below in the comments. I'm R. Anderson Jr., and God bless.